All right, let's talk about a simple, powerful experiment that can totally change your financial life in just 30 days. All it involves is tracking every single dollar you spend. So, what actually happens when you do it? This quote right here, it just nails it. It comes from someone who actually tried this, and it gets to the absolute heart of the matter. There is almost always a huge gap between what we think we spend and, well, reality. Today, we're going to close that gap. So let me just ask you, straight up, do you really, truly know where your money goes each month? For most of us, the honest answer is no. We're kind of on financial autopilot, right? Making dozens of small spending decisions every day without even thinking about it. And that's what financial autopilot is. It's when our spending is just a reaction. It's driven by our habits, our emotions, not by some grand conscious plan. It's that daily coffee, that impulse buy on Amazon, that forgotten subscription that just keeps on charging you. All those little things that are quietly draining our bank accounts. So here's the challenge. It's super simple. For just 30 days, you track everything. And I mean everything. But here's the key. This is not about budgeting. It's not about making yourself feel guilty. Think of it like a data mission. For 1 month, you're just a scientist, and you're observing your own habits. And as someone who did this put it so well, the goal isn't just about the numbers, it's about clarity. The data you collect, it becomes a mirror, a totally unfiltered mirror that shows you the truth about your choices, your habits, and honestly, your priorities. Okay, now for the really dramatic part. This is the moment of truth. Let's dig in and compare what we think is happening with what's actually happening. So this example is from a real person's experience. They guessed they were spending around $400 a month on groceries. The reality? $612. That's a 53% overspend. That is a massive, massive blind spot, and it is incredibly common. So here's the whole picture from their spreadsheet. Yeah, the grocery bill was a huge shock, but look at subscriptions. $74 a month for services we might not even be using. These little things, these are what the experts call budget leaks. And budget leaks, man, they are the silent killers of our financial goals. It's almost never one big crazy purchase that gets us into trouble. It is death by 1,000 cuts. All those small, recurring expenses that we barely even notice. And you know what? The research backs this up completely. Just look at the annual impact here. The average person overspending on food delivery is losing over $5,000 a year. That is not a leak, my friend. That is a flood. Or just think about this number, $1,460. What is that? Well, that's the cost of one single $4 coffee every single day for a year. It feels so harmless, right? But these tiny little habits compound into thousands of dollars that could be working for you instead. This quote just perfectly captures the danger. We think these little expenses are just drips, but add them all up and they can absolutely sink our long-term goals without us even realizing what's happening. So we've seen the what. Now let's talk about the why. What is going on inside our heads that's driving all this spending? Well, a big part of it starts with something called the pain of paying. See, our brains feel a little sting, a little bit of pain, when we physically hand over cash. But modern payments, credit cards, Apple Pay, one-click ordering, they are specifically designed to numb that pain. They make it dangerously easy to spend money without even thinking. Just look at the difference here. On the left, you have high-friction spending, like using cash. It feels real. It makes you pause. On the right, you have low-friction methods, like tapping a card. It's so seamless, our brain barely even registers that a transaction happened. The entire digital economy is built to make spending as frictionless as possible. And this frictionless spending creates a really powerful loop in our brain. It starts with a trigger. Maybe you're feeling stressed or just bored. That leads to a quick action, like a one-click purchase. Then your brain rewards you with a little hit of dopamine, that pleasure chemical. And pretty soon your brain learns to seek that reward again and again, creating a powerful habit loop. And that reveals the core issue for so many of us: emotional spending. We're not buying things, we're buying feelings. That late night online shopping spree, it's not about the stuff. It's about getting relief from stress or boredom. We're literally using spending as a coping mechanism. Okay, so we've seen the data, we've looked at the psychology. Now let's get to the good stuff. How do we turn all this awareness into real, meaningful action? Honestly, the most powerful tool you get from this whole experiment is the pause. Just this simple act of knowing you have to write down a purchase creates this tiny moment of hesitation between the impulse to buy and the action of buying. And in that little space, you get your control back. Now, there are basically two ways you can go about tracking. You can use an app, which is super efficient, or you can track manually with pen and paper. And honestly, the manual way is often way better for actually changing your behavior because it forces you to be mindful. It's like the IKEA effect. We value things more when we build them ourselves. The same thing applies here. A fantastic manual method is the Japanese kakeibo. It's basically a journal system built around these 4 key questions. And I love the last one, which is all about kaizen, or continuous improvement. It's not about being perfect. It's just about getting a little bit better every single month. All right, want a quick win you can start using today? It's called the 24-hour rule. For any non-essential purchase over, say, $50, just wait 24 hours. This simple delay is incredibly effective at breaking that impulse loop. So often, the urge just fades, and you realize you didn't really want it that bad. Here's another easy one, the subscription call. After you've tracked for 30 days, print out your bank statement and highlight every single subscription. Then ask yourself one simple question. Have I used this in the last month? If the answer is no, cancel it, right then and there. And finally, this is a huge one. Your fixed bills? They're often not fixed at all. A simple 10-minute phone call to your internet, mobile phone, or insurance provider can save you hundreds of dollars a year. Seriously, just use these scripts. They want to keep your business, and they will often give you a better deal. So what's the ultimate payoff for all this? It's not just about saving money. It is so much bigger than that. It's about gaining a sense of control, of agency, of real freedom. So once you've tracked your spending and you've plugged up the leaks, you can move from being reactive to being proactive. A great simple framework is the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your income for your needs, 30% for your wants, and a crucial 20% that goes toward your savings and your big financial goals. I love this idea. Your spending tells a story. It's like a diary of your decisions. This 30-day experiment lets you read that story for the very first time. And once you've read it, you finally have the power to write the next chapter yourself. And please remember this. The whole goal here is not about restriction. It's about intentionality. It's about mercilessly cutting your spending on the things that you don't actually care about so you can turn around and spend lavishly and guilt-free on the things you truly love. That is what financial freedom really looks like. So, we'll end with this question. Your bank statement is telling a story right now, today. What story do you want it to tell next month? The beautiful thing is, you're the one holding the pen.